You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 150.
So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us.
Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. This podcast episode is going to be coming out on morning of Christmas Eve, which for many of us this time of year has probably been really hard to anticipate. If you attended my masterclass last week that I taught all about handling the holidays, how to navigate traditions, how to navigate family dynamics, and really figure out how to make it through the celebrations, I hope that you got something out of that. If for some reason you missed the class and were registered, make sure you check your email because I did send out a replay of the class. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there was a class going on and I need to hear all about this, send me a DM on Instagram, lana.manikowski, to get a replay of the call because I want anyone who feels like they could use a little something to get through the holidays to have it in front of them. But here we are today. Especially today, we find ourselves in the heart of the holiday season. And this time of year can be so complicated, can it? I mean, there's this beauty of the twinkling lights and the Christmas lights and the nostalgia in the music and the Christmas caroling and all the stuff that maybe feels a little challenging, and maybe some comfort in family traditions that you're like, oh my gosh, like I look forward to this thing or these couple things every year, and you have this opportunity this year to do them. But for those of us who are childless after infertility, the season also brings waves of unexpected emotions, maybe some grief, maybe some longing, maybe even some loneliness because you thought this was going to be the year that you had your child in front of you to celebrate their first Christmas and to celebrate being a mom. So if that is not the case, I see you and I understand that it can be hard to reconcile the holiday that you dreamed of and the reality that is in front of you. I also believe that it can be a season of self-discovery where you can start to create new traditions for yourself or new ways that you want to celebrate. Maybe today and tomorrow be the time that you try doing something different. If you attended the masterclass, you heard me talk about ways that you can create new traditions and how it is that you can take ownership of adding some of the ways that you can add to your family cloth and the ways that your family celebrates Christmas and the holidays. I want to invite you to do something that maybe adds a little bit of fun and a little bit of a reflective way to honor yourself and how far you've come this year in this week's episode. So what I was thinking about doing when I was thinking about this episode is, okay, how can we play into some of these fun memories we have as kids? Maybe some of the fun things that we remember of Christmas, some of the things that we thought would be great to be able to pass down to our children. So I want to share this idea that I have with you about writing a letter to Santa. Yes, you heard me right, a letter to Santa from your grown-up self. You, this very day, writing a letter to Santa that isn't about asking for things like we did when we were kids. This is about acknowledging what you've accomplished. So what's on your good list? You know, the naughty and nice list. What's on your nice list? And the things that you've accomplished and the strength that you've shown and the ways that you've been here for yourself during this journey. So in this letter to Santa, let this be an opportunity to celebrate you. You've been through so much probably this year and these last few years, if you've been navigating infertility or your childlessness for a while. And maybe you faced difficult conversations or you've had moments when it felt like it, was just impossible to understand, for someone to understand what you've been through or to relate to what you're going through. Maybe you've started exploring what life can look like now that you know it won't include children and that it's different than you thought it would be. So whatever path that you've shown up on, maybe you can take this time this week to give it the recognition that it deserves. So I'm going to give you an example of a letter that I jotted down that maybe is an opportunity for you to get an idea of what sharing your year with Santa might look like. So if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm probably going to be reading this, so I hope it's not distracting. Dear Santa, it's been a while since I've written. I've been on quite the journey these last few years, and I wanted to share some things with you, not because I need gifts or answers, because I want to honor what I've lived through. This year, I allowed myself to make huge life changes as I embarked on my 50th year. The year that so many people dread, I decided was going to be the year that I started to do the things that I always said I wanted to do, but never found the time to do. I left a secure corporate job and became a full-time life coach for women who are navigating life after infertility. I learned to sit with hard feelings without letting them define me. I allowed myself to explore what my life could look like without motherhood at its center. And you know what, Santa? Everything is looking awesome. And it's starting to look more possible to love my life without the children I dreamed of. I show up for myself every day, even on the days that when it feels impossible to do. I've leaned into new friendships and I've looked for ways to create connection and relationships with others who are seeking it in the childless space. And I decided that it's okay if I'm the only one in the group without children. It's okay if I'm the one who has something to add that no one else can relate to. I found moments of joy and gratitude in the most unexpected places, like on a quiet morning walk or in a heartfelt conversation with a new friend. And through it all, I keep going. I don't have all the answers, but I'm proud of the questions I start to ask. So, Santa, here's my wish for this year. Help me continue to show up for myself. Help me keep believing in the possibility of the life I love, and help me continue to help the women I know who want to love life, even though it looks so different than they thought it would. With love, Lana. Okay, now it's your turn. When this episode ends, I would love it if you would just take a few minutes to sit down with a piece of paper or with your journal and start by writing this letter to Santa. What would you want Santa to know all about what you've accomplished this year? Maybe it's acknowledging the struggles that you faced, what moments tested you, what challenges felt insurmountable, and how did you find your way through them? Then shift to focus on what you accomplished. Maybe it's something big, like starting a new job, or for me, like me, quitting my job and starting a whole brand new career, or making a decision about what's next for you. Maybe that means leaving fertility treatments without a child. Maybe it means deciding not to adopt or deciding not to get an egg donor. Or maybe it's something quieter, like getting out of bed each day, reaching out to a friend when you needed support. But finally, write about what you hope for in the year ahead. What would you like it to feel more of? What are you ready to let go of? And if you're writing and you feel stuck or unsure of how to move forward, I want you to know that you don't have to figure it out alone. This is like a perfect time if you want to connect with me. If you're writing and feel stuck or unsure of where to move forward, reach out. I'd love to help you through this. This work that I do, it's like stuff that I love to do. I love helping women learn how to create a life that they love, even though it's like, how did I get here? And you may have questioned your life for so long, but what I love doing is helping women answer the questions that they've had about their life and start to create a plan for where to move forward and how to move forward. That's why I offer these Thrive calls. If you've heard me talk about the Thrive calls, these are 45 minutes that I offer you free to connect with someone who understands where you're at and somebody who understands how hard it is to figure out who to talk to when no one else can really seem to relate to you or feel like they know what you've been through. So if anything, this is my Christmas gift to you. Please book a 45-minute Thrive call so we can figure out what is your next step. I'd love to help you through this. So, my friend, as you head into the rest of your day, I hope that you feel a little bit lighter, a little more inspired, and a lot more seen. I'm so proud of you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to walk this journey with you. Merry Christmas. I love you. And remember, but it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to tell you about an awesome resource I created. If you have ever found yourself in conversations with people, or maybe people offering you suggestions about what you should do to become a mom, it's called the Top 27 Things People Say When You're Childless and How to Respond. You can get your copy free at lanamanikowski.com/things people say.